I was late to the march, honestly, just because I overslept. I'm very jet lagged this week, so it's very frustrating. I turned up to London about coming up to 3, and I obviously had missed the start of the Stand Up to Racism march, and I was kind of looking on my phone trying to find out where is everybody gone. So I ended up at Parliament Square, and obviously that's where the Tommy Robinson supporters were kind of rallied. And it was a bit of a shock, actually, just seeing how many people had turned up there, and seeing, Trump flags is quite freaky for me. And, there were still people speaking on stage, and, lots of people very engaged and listening in. And yeah, you can kind of see the dissatisfaction, and a lot of what people are talking about, in my opinion, doesn't really have anything to do with refugees or people from other countries. It's people being kind of disenfranchised and unhappy with the state of things in the UK. I think people are understandably really upset and frustrated with the state of things, things like housing crisis and benefits and everything. There's so many struggles, and my kind of opinion is that, how do I say it, kind of being divided is what maybe, I don't know, I don't want to sound too conspiracy theory, but it serves the government and power. I think for me, particularly probably the Tory party. I don't know how I feel about Labour right now. It's easier for them if the blame for things like, cuts to public funding and NHS waiting times, Brexit, etc., if that can be deflected towards, ethnic minorities or refugees or people arriving on boats, and kind of just, I think, being very passive and allowing that hatred, which I think is what Tommy Robinson particularly is kind of spewing. And I think there are so many people there who probably don't actually feel that way, but they are just so unhappy with the way things are. Same with Trump supporters in the US. I think it's a very similar reflection of people who are just felt they've been left behind, they're ignored, they're overlooked by government and a lot of politicians, because they are.
I'm worried about the country. I'm worried about the way that it's being run by Keir Starmer. I'm worried for my children, my grandchildren. I'm just a wife and a mother and a grandmother from a small seaside town, and I see our Prime Minister letting criminals out onto the street, and I'm worried for our people, and the borders are they're not being controlled, and I'm just worried for our country.
My husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 58. I and my son cared for him until 2021, and then we were promised palliative care, a syringe driver, everything, nurses, doctors, and we got nothing, and he died horrifically. And my son, I've just lost my son because we couldn't get him any help on the NHS.
We want a decent future. I want a decent future for my children and my grandchildren, and that is all. I'm not racist. I don't give a shite what anybody's colour, creed, religion is.
As soon as you say anything, you're a racist. But we're not racist. I'm not racist. I've got black friends. My wife was half Malaysian. I mean, I'm not racist at all.
I'm a big fan of Tommy Robinson. In my opinion, he's the greatest journalist of all time. Anybody who's got a negative opinion of him hasn't studied his work and watched his documentaries. He's a hero. Jesus Christ works through him.
I wanted to come here because, I feel strongly that everyone in the UK should feel welcome to live here. People who've grown up here, maybe the colour of their skin is different, but they're still British, they're still English, and I think it's a really beautiful country. I live in Tooting right now, and it's just, I work with colleagues who are not from the UK, and I know that recently the riots and everything have been really scary and really concerning for them, and so I guess I'm kind of wanted to be here to show that I don't stand for that, and I want to protect those people.
Well, the main reason I'm here today is because I think it's very important that trade unionists and activists get out and counter the rising racist tide. It's been building up for a while under the hostile environment with the Tories, I don't think the Labour Party is going to do much to do it. So it's important that the Labour movement does. And the most important thing about it here is having a show of strength that helps build the anti-racist atmosphere.
I'm here for the Stand Up to Racism march because of the misinformation that has been spreading on the media about migrants in particular. So I think it's unfair for them as well. You know, people should be welcomed into this country rather than being pushed away. So I felt I have to come and say something so to help those people that are coming into the country and that they are given their full rights.
What is happening is that it is quite clear that far-right forces are in collaboration with Zionist forces and probably even being financed by Zionist and Israeli sources to back Tommy Robinson. He is marching with Israeli flags, and that current in British politics gives unconditional support to the you don't have to watch Al Jazeera, you watch BBC, and the terrible violence and the killing that's going on in North Gaza and the starvation is utterly barbaric, you know, and to say it's genocide is not an overstatement, you know. So that is why I'm here today, and that was why it was very good that the director of Palestine Solidarity made a good speech, saying that Zionism is a form of racism, and we should be opposing that as well as the racism of the far right and the neo-fascists in Britain.
I can't stand the far right, and it's infiltrated every country we can think of, and it frightens the life out of me. I've got 3 grandchildren, and I've got to protect them, and that's why I'm here.